Hey girl. So, so much has been going on. I decided to just come on here finally and do like a. I didn't look at myself for real, for real. Do like just a summary and update. Let me put the mic on the other side since I'm kind of looking over this shoulder. Okay, cool. That just feels like it makes more sense. So, we can just start with what just happened. I just put this necklace on and just started tearing up unexpectedly. And backstory, this necklace was given to me by my mom when I was a kid, and it came from her, and it has some history in the family. Long story short, it broke multiple times, and I've tried to repair it multiple times and was unsuccessful. I finally was able to just repair it, and it was interesting feeling that because I didn't expect. I was just putting it on to show her. I was excited. It's like, oh, I'll put it on and sent her a video really quick, and then of course, like energy started moving. I started tearing up. I was just like, of course, and that is just one of the many moments that have been happening recently where I can feel energy moving or just randomly tearing up, because I believe it has everything to do with all of this internal change and stuff that I've been experiencing and going through. And I have also just been, like I shared on here before, like really ready to get rid of stuff. And pardon me. And so not only that, am I getting rid of shoes, but there's a few handful of other items I'm getting rid of. And what's funny is I think that was the last drawer in this home that was not organized. You could argue in the bedroom there's like some of these storage areas, but those have already had their clean out days and experiences. Like I could go back technically, but this was really it. Like I said, like there are drawers I could technically redo, but this was the last one that was just kind of like whatever. And I think that's also ironic with all the other symbolism I've been getting in my life in terms of completion and completion of cycles and stuff since I just completed that relationship cycle. And this is not to say like suddenly, like I don't know what's happening in my physical life, but I'm telling you what's just going on internally. And also, everybody's blooming up in this house. The ficuses are popping out and showing them. Fiddle leaf fig and ficus lemon gem. Ficus lemon, I think that is what she's called. All of a sudden, they're popping out. Everybody's popping out. And that leads me to the next thing that I guess I can go ahead and go into is something I noticed with the seasons and my misunderstanding of spring versus summer. I shared on here a long time ago and multiple times how I have felt like ever since I quit and just have been out here on my own, that my life experiences have been reflecting the seasons. So I quit well, technically at December of 2024, but like literally like I put my 2 weeks in when there's 2 weeks left of December. So essentially my first day outside was January 1st of 2025. And I that's also around the time I started doing the whole walking and just around the time I started doing a lot of stuff. And I started noticing at some point in the journey that what I was experiencing in my life was being reflected like in the seasons of how like everything else is, like what's going on with everything else in terms of all the organisms, the plants and the animals outside, and what's happening energetically outside seems to be what has been happening energetically in my life. And so in my head, I saw winter as a time of, energy within, right? And inward and whatever. And then I was interpreting spring as blooming, stuff's popping. And then I was interpreting summer as its full expression. And then I was interpreting fall as releasing, like releasing what doesn't serve you, whatever. And then, repeat. But something that I had misunderstood or whatever, I guess misunderstood is the right word, with spring is more activation and less output, physical output. And I started digging into that a little bit because the way my plants are behaving right now and the way the plants outside, like the trees and just the regular wildlife are behaving right now, is what I expected in spring. Not that spring, like obviously flowers bloomed in the house, and there's stuff that was growing in here too. I'm not saying nothing happened in spring, but the like that output, I expected to see in spring. And but really what it's more analogous to is like spring is, to me, it's kind of like, you know how you have think of like something as just like a phone or a device or something, and it needs time. Anything especially that has or uses electricity, for sure, has its time where it's completely powered off. Like your computer needs time where it's just completely off. Most, if not all, of your devices and things that you use in your daily life, your appliances, your car, anything needs time where it's just like completely powered off. And that is how I would describe winter. And then spring is powering stuff on. And that doesn't mean that nothing, like some things are ready to go a lot sooner, and then there are some things that need to warm up. There are some things that need to boot up. There are some things that need some build up, and then there are some things that can just immediately, you turn on, you go, like your phone essentially. You turn it on, you go. But and then summer is when all that, energy and loading time and uploading and buffering or whatever, like kind of descriptors we want to use here, all that energy is now like able to be used for full expression and output. And I started thinking about this, especially my ficuses for one, because this fiddle leaf fig to be popping out like this, and I've been like so concerned this whole time, like, is she cool? Because she had like spider mites and stuff. So just long story short, if you are on my Instagram, which I don't know how many people that would be here would be from my Instagram, but because all my social medias are different. If you're on my Instagram, on my story specifically is where I talk about my plants and I have a highlight for them and stuff. And so that's where her whole story is. But yeah, for example, the fig tree that I hang out with, I expected like way more figs and purple figs right now. I didn't expect her to just be fully whatever, because I understand that, summer is full expression. That I had right. But in spring is more activation energy, like allocating energy towards like the roots and growth, and like stuff is happening, but it's more underground. It's more getting started. It's more, the blooming of flowers for sure, which is an event. Flowers are an event, which that very much like tracks with this whole thing. And this matters because I was expecting for my life, especially since I also understand the energies that I've had in my favor astrologically, because I don't think any of this stuff is separate. The energies that I've already had in favor for my personal makeup is there's been a lot of activation energy for me in this spring, between Aquarius season, like the solar return stuff, the Taurus energy from like Taurus season, the this I forget, like there were 3 big ones that were like in my favor. And so I was really expecting like stuff to be like in spring. And so now that we've left spring, and I didn't have that, business pop off or whatever that I expected, it's okay and I accepted it and stuff. But I thought to myself, like, that's so weird. I for sure thought spring was going to be my season. And it's not that nothing's happened in the spring, but I was just like, that's so weird, because I've been flowing with the seasons this entire time. Everything that's been happening outside has really been reflecting in my life and in my business and my just life in one way or another. So I was like, that's interesting. And so now, though, to hear that the spring work is mainly underground, not everything, and the same thing with my life, not everything was underground. So I launched stuff for my business, and I was still repeating cycles that we just discovered. I talked about already in the last video, but you know, I I do feel a little bit better now seeing that and understanding that, like, no, spring is not the it's like now, for example, the fig tree and the avocado tree I've been hanging out with too, they both, like, in the spring they were allocating their energy towards their roots and their systems and putting out fruit. They put out, there's little avocados starting to form all over the tree, and there's little figs all over the tree. She's even dropped some because she makes extra. That's another, I don't, there's so many points. There's so many things I want to talk about. I don't know if I have time for all of it. But that's another conversation in and of itself, is the abundance that these trees have, and the abundance in the way that the animals interact with the trees. You know, the tree never is like, oh, that bird only took one bite of this fruit and one bite of that one and flew off and threw the rest away. The tree's like, I'll just make more. Trees make way more, or put out way more, I don't know what to call them, because they're not buds, they're actual fruits, but way more fruits than they can actually, like, develop to maturation. And I thought that was beautiful. I thought that was really cool. Like, they have way more than they actually need, and the animals have way more than they need, and they don't ever worry about, oh, I should save this for later. Like, they still store food. Animals store food, and you know, we all have some type of reserve, but the way animals interact with trees and nature and food and everything is so abundant compared to how we do, is all I'm getting out there. But anyways, you know, now all that energy that these fruit trees, for example, have been building up in the spring, they can now put towards maturing this fruit in the summer, and it would see that physical full expression. The fruit can now prosper. I don't know, you know what I mean? And that was really cool to me, and my plants are doing the same thing. They've been doing stuff this whole time. This fiddle leaf fig has been doing stuff in her root system this whole time. I had no clue, you know. This, my ficus is over here, and we got a leaf from peace lily again 2 years in a row. I mean, everyone is just popping out, and it's just like, oh, this is what this is the behavior I was expecting from nature and everybody in the spring. But the spring is a little more underground than I was giving it credit for, and that makes me feel a little bit better too, because it's like, I also having this internal experience of completing that cycle and going through what I've been going through. It's like, maybe summer really is my pop out and show 'em. Like, maybe this really is when I finally get to do what I want to do for real, you know, and all that. Another thing that I don't think is ironic at all that has happened is, so I started my menstrual cycle yesterday. I did expect this cycle to be a little bit more painful. Why? Because I released that really big old belief from childhood, and that we've already talked about, the one that I just uncovered with my relationships from that dream, the same thing we've been talking about. And so I do believe and can see how energetically and scientifically that could work, where what we release during our menstrual cycles and stuff can be influenced by, like, if we're releasing something like beliefs and emotion, that could also be released through the monthly bleed, you know. And from my experience, when I've had bigger releases, then that menstrual cycle tends to be a little bit more painful. And then otherwise, normally, they're not super painful and it's chill. And so because of all of this that's just going on, and going to Sedona and all this just array of spiritual experiences I've been having, I expected this menstrual cycle to be a little bit more painful. I didn't expect it to be the most painful one I've ever had, and for it to literally come in swinging so hard, so fast. I basically started my day yesterday normal. I saw that my cycle was just starting. I was like, oh, cool. Caught it early. I get, like, literally just started. I was like, oh, cool. You know, do what you got to do. And then I go on about my day to finish cleaning and stuff, and turn around within like 30 minutes to an hour, I'm like in the bed in the fetal position. And then very shortly after that, it's like tossing and turning. Like laying it down, laying in the fetal position isn't enough. Mind you, I never take medicine. I'm not anti-medicine. I tell y'all all the time. I'm very much both sides. I think a beautiful blend is what we need in terms of holistic and modern medicine and stuff. But I prefer not to take medicine unless I absolutely need to, and my cycles are generally never painful enough for medicine. And even the more painful ones are usually not that serious, and it's only painful for like the first half of the day when that uterus like just starts. It's just starting its contractions and stuff. And so I can usually I can just power through it. It's not that long. There was no powering through that at all, and I actually couldn't even stand up straight, and I was rapidly looking for ways to alleviate menstrual cramps because we were well past cold compress, hot compress, peppermint oil. We were past all the holistic everything. That was so painful, and I was just I couldn't actually sit still. I was in my bed just I couldn't be still. And long story short, I had to get help from a relative. I called a relative. I was just wow. I'm so grateful to my womb. I'm so grateful for my body for this release. I mean, that shit was taking a bitch down for the count. But I don't think it's ironic. My point is, I don't think it's ironic or random that I have the most painful period that I've ever had in my entire life after releasing the deepest wound that I've carried for my entire life, after having this, that, and the third, and this, and that, and the third for my entire life. All of this stuff is just happening at the same time. You know what I mean? Skin finally releasing and getting better. Even though on here, I'm not even gonna go and show y'all for real, because on here it looks terrible, but my skin is actually doing a lot better, and it's getting better and better every single day, and I feel so much more optimistic about it than I have in the past. I used my moisturizer for a third time in the day a couple days ago instead of my usual twice, simply because I got new makeup. I think I told y'all I'm doing a new makeup routine. I just really want to do that. I really wanted to change my makeup, and now that my skin's gonna be looking nice and back to normal, I wanted my makeup. I wanted to be able to get back into wearing my makeup for real, because I had stopped really because of my skin. And what's it called? Because though I went and did that, I washed my face again an extra time, but I shouldn't have applied that moisturizer an extra time. So it did get a little bit of irritation here and here, even though it's barely tender, but it did. So I stopped. I'm not using it yesterday, and I may or may not use it tonight. I might give it one more day, because I do like it. It does work, and my skin barrier has been doing well with it. It just didn't like the extra that I did. So we've got a couple of little things that popped up because of that. But it's just that finally working with me and in my favor. And I feel these past days, especially this weekend, because there's just so much I've been wanting to do at once, so much cleaning, so much. I want to try to get everything done before Monday, and I've been struggling with that, and I've been I need to do stuff. Even yesterday, for example, I had a long list of stuff to do that I wasn't able to do because my body was attacked by those menstrual cramps. Let me not say it like that, but and so I ended up having to be in bed more. Obviously, once the stuff kicked in, I was able to be fine. I went and got my retie, but I was I need to be doing stuff, but I'm also I'm in my menstrual phase right now, which is my internal winter. This is what I'm supposed to be chilling, especially for at least day one, and so yeah, just that happened, and I just found that to be very powerful and to coincide with all the other changes that I've been experiencing. And my plants in my home is very much a reflection of me. I've clocked that a long time ago. And I also even see now that all my relationships and stuff are a reflection of me. I believed it, and I was always looking for it, But I was always confused because I was just like, I don't act like that. I don't do that. I don't say that, you know? But it's not, that's not, that's not it. Like, yes, those statements are true, but it's like, I explained it to you, I guess, already in my last friendship thing. So I'm sure we'll talk about that even more in other times. But just basically, yeah, you know, everything, quite literally everything, is a reflection. And it's beautiful and it's helpful and it's feedback, you know. And how I react to stuff also gives me insight of, you know, myself and more information on what's going on with me internally in my body's like operating systems and stuff and all that. So just really profound insight and a lot of integration happening in my body and in my world. And it's been fascinating, you know, and it's so cool. I'm There's another thing I wanted to share. I haven't been on here in a good amount of days just because I feel like so much. I'm going back to volleyball, which I'm really excited about. What else happened? Let me just look at this. Oh, I have to do that community. Oh my gosh, I just realized some other stuff on my list I need to do. Okay, that's fine. I don't have to go to acupuncture anymore because I don't have a pins and needles problem anymore because that vanished overnight. The same with my knee health and stuff, and you know, switch my makeup, switch my clothes, stronger in the gym. Yeah, yeah, girl. Um, I may come back on here again. Probably not, but I'm trying to think. Hold on. Hey, girl. My battery died last time, which was fine because I was basically done talking anyway. Um, I'm gonna close it out. I'm gonna share really quick that within the last 24 hours, I've uncovered yet something else about myself, which is like a major plot twist. And I've been sitting with that in like a positive, like like I'm happy about it, but it's just that happened. And what I said before, like I might just get rid of some of my clothes or whatever. Why am I so greasy? It's like I might just get rid of some of my clothes, but I was mainly getting rid of shoes. I actually am getting rid of a lot of clothes too. And really, I want to get rid of a lot of the ones that are still in there, but since I don't have replacements for them yet, I don't feel like I'm with what's in there right now, but I want to like I see just a whole different I don't know. It's just like I feel like a lot happening at once. Because then there was also something else that I was changing or switching out or whatever. But, anyways, I think this is all really good though. And I think it's all really cool. Since this stuff is happening fast in the beginning, I hope that means stuff materializes just as fast because it also is, you know, taking time and distraction away from me. Like I'm really like focused on all of this stuff. It feels really important right now to clear this stuff out and to sit with this stuff that I'm thinking about and figure this stuff out and or not even figure, just discover and uncover and learn and integrate, you know, I don't know. But I feel like I've discovered so many like major things about myself within the last like 2 to 3 weeks, or whatever was like about a week before I went off to Sedona. So I feel like it's been like 2 to 3 weeks. And I feel like with all of this discovery has also come like obviously you have the physical stuff and then you have this like severe purging because that's what that like at least yesterday like today I feel a lot better but that's what the like menstrual stuff was feeling like this just like serious what time is it actually I forgot about that something else like the menstrual cramps being that hard and then me purging from the BHA right now, you know. I think my skin is still doing good, but on the camera it looks terrible. So, like it's the texture is there, but like it's getting better each day and stuff. But like you know how the camera be, I need to stop touching it. But you know, I find like of course that's kind of been happening at the same time. Within just these past weeks or whatever. Yes, it was from a product, but like the timing of me bringing that on, you know what I mean? It's kind of like the timing of me going to Sedona when I was doing all that root work. The timing of XYZ, you know, multiple times in the past. So it just feels like the stone has been unturned from a lot of stuff, or like the curtain's been revealed for like so many things, especially this most recent thing. I'll probably talk about it next week. I just want to have more time to, like, I just discovered this like yesterday. But you know, it's just like I don't know. It's just a lot at one time. I guess that's just that's just the best way I could put it. It's just a lot at one time, not in a bad way, but just in like a, you know, there's so much exciting stuff and scary stuff happening simultaneously. I think that's the way. And the scary stuff is only, I guess, scary because I'm labeling it that way or whatever, but I'm just like I'm looking at the time that I have in the month, and I'm looking at what I need to achieve, what I'm trying to achieve, and I'm just like, you know, even though like I be trying, I don't be like paying attention to it like for on my calendar or whatever, but I just mean like when I'm talking about it and stuff, or if I take time aside to like plan something out, or it's just like, so like all this time being taken, which I know I shouldn't be talking about time like a limiting resource like this, but all this time right now being spent on my inner transformation, which I'm loving and I honestly feel and believe is a priority, so that's what I'm doing. I really go with what my body feels so called to do and so called to whatever. But it also just is, you know, there's just a lot happening at one time. So drop a swirl emoji if you made it this far. Swirl to represent like the energy or transformation or something, because that's what this really has been feeling like. Very different from the ones in the past. But yeah, drop a swirl emoji if you made it this far, and I will see you next week, girl.